Just a couple of weeks ago on March 19, 2025, Kevin Gates released his fifth studio album, I'm Him Too, which serves as a sequel to his 2019 release, I'm Him. Prior to this, he released The Ceremony on January 26, 2024. Kevin Gates is one of the hardest working musicians in the music industry, with now 5 studio albums, 18 mixtapes, and 3 EPs. But it's more than just his hard work that got Kevin Gates to where he is, and in this episode we will be exposing Kevin Gates as an occultist / devil worshiper that practices witchcraft and voodoo. And the reason that led me to believe this about Kevin Gates is Kevin Gates himself. Because not only does he tell us what he believes in his music, but he also has done so on social media and in interviews, and people just gloss right over it. This video is long overdue, and after watching him make an appearance on the DDG streaming show to promote his album, you can see he was accompanied by Brittany Renner dressed as a Muslim. And for those of you who don't know, Brittany Renner is basically a social media personality that really gained fame and popularity around 2018 across Instagram and other social media platforms after she wrote a tell-all book where she detailed past relationships with high-profile men, including athletes and entertainers, which of course sparked a lot of backlash. She also dated NBA player PJ Washington and had a child with him, and people accused her of trapping him for financial gain. And she has now claimed that she has seen the light, vows to change her lifestyle, and converted to Islam, but I personally believe that she's making a mockery out of the Muslim faith, just like Kevin Gates, who also claims to be Muslim. But as you'll learn in this video, Kevin Gates is everything but a true practicing Muslim, as he religiously contradicts and disrespects the faith in his interviews, lifestyle, and his music. But in order to do that, I think we need to go back to the beginning. Kevin Gates was born on February 5th, 1986 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Growing up, Gates lived in Baton Rouge with his mother after his father abandoned the family at a young age, leaving them to fend for themselves. From an early age, Gates was a troubled child, often finding himself in trouble. At just 13 years old, he was arrested in 1999 for joyriding in a stolen car with his friends. As a teenager, Gates eventually reconnected with his father, but their time together didn't last long. His father passed away when Gates was only 14. After graduating high school, Gates briefly attended Baton Rouge Community College before eventually dropping out. In 2007, he landed his first record deal with Dead Game Records. It was during this time he managed to secure features from fellow Louisiana artists Boosie and Webby for his debut mixtape, though it didn't achieve much success at the time. He followed up with another mixtape in 2008, All or Nothing. That same year, Gates was incarcerated and spent 31 months in prison, putting his music career on hold. However, he claimed to have used the time productively, earning a psychology degree while he was incarcerated. He was released on good behavior in 2011. Upon his release, Gates returned to music, dropping his third mixtape, Make Them Believe, which generated some buzz and eventually caught the attention of Lil Wayne. Gates signed a management deal with Young Money Records, though he never signed a full record deal with them. After getting advice from Birdman to do so, Gates eventually started his own record label in 2013, naming it Breadwinners Association, or BWA. Under Young Money's management, Gates released his fourth mixtape, The Luca Brasi Story, which received critical acclaim and praise from outlets like Pitchfork and Rolling Stone. Due to its success, Gates secured his first major record deal with Atlantic Records. After signing, he dropped his fifth mixtape, Stranger Than Fiction, in July 2013. Like his predecessor, it was well received and marked Gates' first entry on the Billboard charts. He continued to build off the momentum of this mixtape. However, shortly after, Gates found himself back in jail for violating his parole. He was sentenced to 4 months in prison, but was released after serving only 3. After he was released in March 2014, he dropped his 6th mixtape, By Any Means, which featured guest appearances from 2 Chainz, Plies, and Rico Love. The mixtape debuted at number 17 on the Billboard 200. In May 2014, Gates was selected as a XXL freshman and used the momentum to go on tour. Then, just 3 months later, in August of that same year, he dropped a song that took his career to the next level and made him a household name, I Don't Get Tired. The rest, as they say, was history. All of this information is what they told us and or led us to believe is the full story regarding the come up with Kevin Gates. He worked hard, he grinded for a long time, and that's the reason he got to where he is. But I'm under the belief, as I've already said, that Kevin Gates had to do several other things in order to make it to the level that he is in the music industry. Simply put, I believe Kevin Gates is a Freemason, practices voodoo, and is closely affiliated with Freemasons that I believe run the music industry. Gates will proudly brag in one sense about being a man of honor, being a man of the people, being a man of morals, while also simultaneously bragging about being tied in with the cartel, fornication, drug culture, homicide, adultery, and the list goes on. Spreading confusion is a common tactic in Freemasonry. New Orleans has a long history and reputation with voodoo, and Kevin Gates has openly admitted to practicing it. In his song The Law, he literally raps, "Went to see the voodoo priest while dealing, seeking protection from my foes, know they always scheming. Santeria beads on my neck, I'm labeled the heathen." In this song, Kevin Gates is openly confessing to using voodoo rituals, a practice known to involve communication with demonic entities, mentioning the Santeria beads around his neck. Which reminds me, it was a time when he literally got checked online for wearing these beads, and this was his response to his fans.
You see them beads, huh? Yeah, you know I'm labeled a heathen. You talking about my beads? Devil worshiping beads? Cool, you hear me? But if you're a Christian, your Bible says you're supposed to love God, your neighbor as yourself, and your enemy. So if you're commanded to love me if I want to serve the devil. Are you a hypocrite?
I just want to interrupt for just a sec to say, first of all, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you're new to the show, please know we're thirsty to grow and to drink some of this warm water with lemon. You can help us out by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. But don't worry, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to hit that like button for me. Thank you. Please follow us on our other socials as well. Thank you for your support. And in this video for Fatal Attraction, once again, Kevin Gates confirms that he practices voodoo magic. And to make it even worse, he's teaching his children the same thing.
Want a kid? No, with Takeoff. You look at her. She's so sweet.
Hey, she powerful too.
Yeah, I did magic on my brother yesterday.
Don't talk, sweetheart. It's okay. And I can talk to kids.
She powerful.
I know.
Because you know, that's a lot of people right there.
In this clip, you can clearly see that Kevin Gates and one of his fans seem to be talking in some sort of code, but appear to understand each other enough to know what's truly being communicated. They both seemed a little off to me. Very weird conversation and interaction in my opinion. But that's not it. This man also openly admitted in his song Marshall Mathers how he made it in the industry while even calling himself his own god. It says, "Hating on me for my inevitable success. Still dealing with the devil, I only know as myself. In the mirror, I see as God, and that only God is myself." In these lyrics, Kevin Gates is clearly calling himself God, something he has religiously embraced throughout his career.
Fast forward to the future, if I was 86 years old, this is gonna sound very, very crazy. I'm already like 3,000 years old right now. I just tell people I'm 33 because I don't age. I'm immortal. There's nothing new under the sun. My mother had sex with an angel, was born an immortal, and didn't even know it.
How old are you?
On paper, I'm 39, but I'm really immortal. I'm ancient.
That happens.
I'm immortal. So
Yeah.
I've been here since the beginning, and I have no beginning or end.
Okay. You're
Immortal.
amazing God, right? Is that the only other person?
Oh my God, you just said, did you just call me God?
I may have.
Oh no. Oh.
It's just, felt like that's where that was.
It touched my little soul when you said that. Thank you. Forgive me.
So welcome. I didn't realize you were old enough to have 21-year-old kids.
You start early.
How early?
They beautiful, but they got beautiful personalities. I was blessed. I don't have no bad children, or I don't have any disappointments.
Do you feel like parents who have kids who are disappointments are going around doing interviews and saying they're disappointments?
I don't know. I'm honest. So it's like,
So if they were,
if I had somebody that I wasn't proud of around me, I'd be like, I probably wouldn't even mention them, to be honest with you.
Not to mention the title of his 2 albums. Literally the title, I'm Him and I'm Him Too. I personally find this title as extremely problematic for anyone to use, but especially a person claiming to be Muslim. Only God is Him. And by claiming that you as a human is Him, I see that as claiming divine status, being prideful, and being arrogant. All things that believers should be against. Isaiah 42:8 says, "I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory I give to no other." Proverbs 16:18. Pride comes before the destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. This also reminds me of Yo Gotti dropping an album titled I Am. Exodus 3:14. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. To claim yourself as I am or as I'm Him is boastful, inaccurate, blasphemous, and demonic. And something very strange about Kevin Gates is that right after he blew up with the release of the song I Don't Get Tired, his grandmother passes away. But not only that, she passes away and Kevin Gates decides, for whatever reason, to take a picture of her deceased body and post it on the internet. It was almost as if he was showing people his offering in order to gain fame and success. I mean, we all have heard the rumors about having to sacrifice something or someone to Lucifer in order to make it in the industry. And I believe this is Kevin Gates' way of showing us what he had to do. But there's another song where he openly admits how he made it in the industry. In his song Sit Down, he raps, "I told my teen about manifestations. People are basic. They thought I was crazy. Hard with the witchcraft. Study every night. Philosopher's stone. I perform another rite. Rite meaning ritual. I created dry ice. Hid in plain sight. Wear the suit and tie nice. Mason means more than just being a bricklayer." Kevin Gates admits to practicing black magic and alchemy. He also confirms his ties to Freemasonry with the line, "Wore a suit and tie nice. Masons mean more than just bricklayers." He also mentions the Philosopher's Stones, which alchemists believe holds the key to immortality, which makes perfect sense because once again, this is something Kevin Gates can be heard saying multiple times in interviews, while also clearly admitting to using black magic to climb rank in the music industry. Kevin Gates literally thrives and gets excited to tell people, yeah, I'm 39 or I'm whatever age on paper, but I'm actually 1,000 years old. He relishes in the moment when people want to, they ask him, they're prompted to ask him, are you saying that you're God? And he feels so humble, he feels so proud to be asked that question. That's blasphemous, bro. How can you be a Muslim while also claiming that you're God? That doesn't make any sense. I was at the barbershop about 2 weeks ago, and I walk into the barbershop, and this is before his album dropped, and my barber was playing Kevin Gates, and I said, hey man, what do you think about the new Kevin Gates song that just dropped? Because again, the album wasn't out yet, and I believe the song that came out is Big Brother or something like that. And my barber actually surprised me. He goes, man, Kevin Gates is an interesting figure. And I was like, what you mean by that? He said, I don't know, man. Kevin Gates is just, I don't know which version of him I'm gonna get. And I was like, what you mean? He said, I don't know if I'm gonna get the Indian version. I don't know if I'm gonna get the cartel version. He said, I don't know if I'm gonna get the gangster version. I don't know if I'm gonna get the overly feminine, borderline homosexual vibe version. I don't know if I'm gonna get the humble version. I don't know if I'm gonna get the psychology professor version. And I'm laughing because it was so funny because it caught me off guard. But that's so true. That's so true. And that's my point. I mean, this dude is confusion. I think he is the epitome of confusion by design. He has all these different personas and all these different personality traits and all these different ways that he presents himself. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, he was in a DJ Academics interview one time, and he literally condemned and said that murder is wrong. He said that murder is wrong. But the weird thing is, if you listen to what he said murder was wrong, but a lot of these musicians who talk about it in their music aren't living what they're talking about, and they've never actually killed anyone. And the reason he knows that is because, basically in so many words, real recognizes real. He said a killer knows another killer because they got a certain way about them.
You'll be more respectful. You ain't never stand over nothing and watch it go. I know you dudes didn't. I could tell by your spirit. You ain't got no souls under your belt. All killers, no killers. You can look at them and tell. We know what's happening. See, like real killers don't walk around with their face all tooted up and all that. They not trying to look tough because they really let off pressure. They apply pressure. Either you're applying it or you're feeling it. That's it. So a lot of times when I see people just talking about all that, that's more like a protection mode. Like, don't fuck with me. I turn into a monster.
You know what I find so interesting about that? Kevin Gates has never been charged for murder or attempted murder, but he has 3 teardrops on his face, and he's openly talking about how killers recognize killers. So what is he talking about? What is he really saying here? You know what I mean? And I can't end this video without mentioning that I remember several years ago, or maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you had that situation where the transgender came out and outed Kevin Gates. Now, I personally believe you shouldn't kiss and tell. You shouldn't be involved with people and then go out and want to air them out. Like, if you're going to do things in private, keep it private. Like, you all should be able to trust each other. But also don't support the lifestyle. So part of me is also happy that this person outed Kevin Gates. If they're telling the truth, I personally believe him. But this transgender man, transgender woman came out and said that they had this interaction, this intimate interaction with Kevin Gates, and I guess they didn't tell Kevin Gates up front that they was transgender, and Kevin Gates didn't realize it until they were in the middle of the sexual act. And Kevin Gates asked and apparently didn't have a problem with it.
I'm not like, so he came and he was like, let's go to dinner. And I was like, okay, just like text me where. And he had like 4 phones. He was saying like El Chapo was watching me. And I was like, okay. And we were in his car. He was playing me his new album. He was on Instagram Live. And in my brain, I'm like, dude, he shows me on live. And I'm like, ugh, I just know one of like the fans from Iowa, like where I'm from.
That is a dude.
Yeah, like that's a male. And it was just one of those situations where I almost looking so deep into like my soul and my like 9 different holes that like I asked like, do you want to come home with me? He was kind of just like, get in my car.
And they just, I mean, that's how they always are.
No, you don't ask, you go.
Yeah. Energy, like ashwagandha, like the whole 9. Honestly, and I told him I was trans, like mid, like spread eagle, like flap scars and all. Like I
how did you bring that up?
Honestly,
like,
I was just
mid-sex. What?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm squirting. He's like, no, you're not. Not kidding. Like, spread eagle. I think he was like eating me out or something. And then in my brain, he like stopped, and I'm like, oh, he knows my clit looks different. Like, he was like,
taking a breath.
Yeah, no, he's not out of breath that quick. Let me get this man an oxygen tank. But he was like, can I ask you something? And I go, yeah. And he was like, are you trans? And I go, and I was just like, I was so done, like, like laying there, like,
What gives you that idea?
And I was laying there, and I go, you caught me. And he literally was like, baby, I don't give a God raised all of us equal, all this stuff. And I was like, that makes you so much more attractive.
Why am I mentioning this? Because I think this also speaks to a lot of the things that Kevin Gates, how he's behaved himself, how he's carried himself. He's giving people to believe, like, bro, are you bisexual? Are you, you say, well, that's personal. It's that shouldn't matter. Live your life. That's not the point. It's if you're going to be portraying yourself to be one way, but you're giving us the reason to believe something else. I mean, it's confusing, And then there's this weird time he was at the BET Awards. I know everybody remember this. He was standing like he was a robot. Like, I don't know what this was about. And then I also can't forget to mention when Kevin Gates, just like all these other rappers and musicians, all of them go through a phase when they have blonde hair. And I personally believe when these artists wear this blonde hair, black people, so-called black folks, white folks, all different shades, if you are of that circle, all of you seem to go through a phase when you're wearing blonde hair. And I think that's a sign that these people have been placed through MK Ultra. That's my personal opinion. And again, what the biggest thing that prompted this video, it just upset me when I watched him walk into the stream with Brittany Renner, despite the fact that my understanding is that Kevin Gates is married to Drika, who he's talked about in his music, but he's openly out here with another woman. I don't, it's just mixed signals. It's weird. I don't know. And then he said in the live, people want to get to where he's at, but they don't realize what it takes. They're not willing to do what it takes. What does that mean? Because you're not just talking about hard work, bro. These people truly disgust me. Kevin Gates, I've been meaning to do a video on him for like 3 years. I'm not even exaggerating. I just hadn't got around to it. And I'm finally making a video on this guy. The last thing I want to say to end this video is follow Jesus Christ. Do not let these celebrities, do not let these rappers, do not let these people of influence or who seem to be of somebody of influence trick you, confuse you, trick you out your position. Because at the end of the day, they're just human. They have huge ego. They have fragile egos, but they feel so high and mighty because of the attention that they get. If you are in one second in the interview giving people positive advice, semen retention, and being positive minded, bragging about how you move around with no security because you're positive and you don't mess with people, as if that stops people from trying to rob you or hurt you or harm you. But then you hop in your music and you this big gangster and you heard me, you say, man, let me get all them bricks, man. I'm plugged in with the cartel. It's like, who are you, bro? Who are you? Y'all hop in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I'm curious. Did you know these things about Kevin Gates? Do you care about these things? Do you think it's important? Remember, music is the only thing that can enter the subconscious without a person's permission. And these musicians are the new leaders of several communities. They are looked up to the way Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and other civil rights leaders were looked up to 60, 70, 80 years ago in the black community. So we got to call these frauds out when we see that they're frauds. When you're doing stuff like getting another man's face tattooed on you That being Kevin Gates getting NBA Youngboy tattooed on his face, which, by the way, NBA Youngboy, also from Louisiana, is also a Freemason. Not a coincidence. Hop in the comment section, give me your thoughts, man. I'm Demetrius. I go by DD. That's all for this one. Until next time. Peace.
Oh, yeah. Didi got a podcast.